These are my Eisenlink adjustable dumbbells, and these are my Ironmaster quick locks. Side by side, you'll notice a lot of similarities, but it's their differences that are much more interesting. Both go heavy, real heavy, they're durable, and have time-tested designs. For the most part, you see, the Eisenlinks are based on Ironmaster's previous design that you might have actually seen Hoist sell in the past. Ironmaster sold Hoist the patent to their older style of adjustable dumbbells back in 2002. That patent has since expired, and that's where Eisenlinks stepped in to, in their own words, upgrade the design. So, have they, and which is better? Well, it's not really that cut and dry because there's reasons you may want one over the other besides the fact the Eisenlinks are a good bit cheaper. So we'll cover their similarities and differences, and in the end I'll give my thoughts on which I prefer. But first, full disclosure, these were sent for free for a review. Not the Ironmasters, I bought those, but the Eisenlinks were, and I've linked them both in the description. So if you find this video helpful and enjoy our content and want to support the channel, then please check out those affiliates, because if you buy something after clicking one, we'll get a small commission at no cost to you, and it's how we keep this channel going. Let's start with the similarities, because while there are a lot of important and subtle differences, at first glance it's hard to tell them apart, which is why a lot of you have reached out asking for a review. And longtime viewers know I'm nothing if not brutally honest. So, of course, I did all kinds of super scientific tests on these, and yes, I spent the entire video's budget on this lab coat. But don't worry, I'm sure I'll get my money's worth by making the same joke way too many times. But dumb jokes aside, I went overboard like always. I weighed the plates, screws, and handles to check their tolerances, and they're both pretty good. If we look at the pieces, they look very much alike. Both have a handle, locking screws, and a series of square-shaped weight plates. They even share my favorite feature. The locking screws create a smooth surface for you to prop them up on or put them down so they're not gouging your legs up. They both go heavy. If you've got the longer locking screws, Eisenlinks go up to 160 pounds, Ironmasters up to 180. They're imported, and the two have a simple all-metal design that has proven to be very durable over time. There's no small plastic parts or intricate mechanisms that can break like with Dumbbells, and I'd probably go so far as to say these are the most durable adjustable dumbbells on the market, with second place likely going to Rep's Quick Draw adjustable dumbbells. Now, don't get me wrong, I also think gym equipment should be frailer than my cell phone. Please sense the sarcasm there, because stuff happens. And if I'm incline pressing 90s and feel something weird in my shoulder, you'd better believe these things are going down before my shoulder does. So yes, I drop test dumbbells for these reviews, making this where I put in a cool drop montage ending in an explosion. And I do teardowns of all the adjustable dumbbells we review as well, because I think this stuff should be durable. Now, I'm not saying you should drop them. I'm just saying this stuff's expensive and it should be built to last for many years. Of the two, I'd give a slight nod to Ironmaster because their threading inside the handle goes all the way through, allowing the locking screw to have more to grab onto, whereas the Eisenlinks only thread about the first 3/4 of an inch. The problem with both of these is that we all know gym math can be hard. You know, adding simple numbers together. And since they're using black powder-coated plates that are interchangeable, there's no weight indications. So as you get higher up in weights, I feel like I'm doing calculus, counting out pairs of plates, trying to decipher how many are on each side. All right, we've got a pretty good understanding of their similarities, so let's look at how they differ. And to give us some perspective, I'm going to compare them to fixed and other adjustable dumbbells. I don't need to tell you how important size is, but I'm telling you, in this circumstance, I don't feel much of a difference. Eisenlink's plates are a little bit larger in diameter, but they're also a little bit thinner. So at 25 pounds, there's less than an inch in difference in length, and they're shorter than a fixed dumbbell. And at 75 pounds, that length difference is just over an inch, with them pretty much always being shorter than other adjustable dumbbells. Originally, I thought the slight size difference, or the fact Eisenlink has cuts and screws in their plates, would affect balance, but after testing them by using one in each hand for a variety of exercises, I either have the most symmetrical physique ever, or Actually, maybe the most imbalanced because I always put the same one in the same hand. But anyway, I can't tell much of a difference between the two outside of Eisenlink's handle diameter being larger at 35.5 millimeters versus 32 millimeters on the Quick Locks. To put that in perspective, a typical fixed dumbbell is normally around 34 or 35 millimeters. Either way, they're very well balanced and feel like you're using a fixed dumbbell, except for the fact that the handles at about 6 3/4 inches are a decent amount longer than a fixed dumbbell, which is around 5.5 inches. That matters because the further out the weight is, the more it's going to affect the balance. So you'll have to be more careful to make sure your hands are centered as you go up in weight, especially if you have smaller hands. Now, Ironmaster does have an advantage there because they have a heavy handle kit that attaches to the inside of the handle, fixing the grip width and balance issues, and it's what allows the Quick Locks to go up to 180 pounds. The only potential problem there is they add 15 pounds to each handle, so your dumbbells would start at 20 pounds. Speaking of starting weight, the Quick Locks handle weighs 5 pounds and Eisenlink's 10, which is an advantage for Ironmaster, but it's not going to be a factor for everyone, and both are adjustable in 5-pound increments. But the biggest factor outside of their price is probably how you adjust them. Both are pretty simple and straightforward, but a little different in how they work. You've got a series of 5 and 2.5 pound plates, and you essentially add as many as you want to get to your desired weight. So let's say I want 30 pounds. With the Quick Locks, the handle weighs 5 pounds, and then the locking screws are 2.5, so I'm at 10 pounds. Then I'm just going to need 2 pairs of 5s, giving me 30 pounds. But a few important notes here that'll make more sense when I show you the Eisenlinks. One, if I want 5-pound increments, I add the 2.5 pound plates, and they can go anywhere, on the inside, outside, in the middle, it doesn't matter. 2, the plates have an orientation. You can see this indent that easily aligns on all the plates. But again, it doesn't matter where they go or if they're upside down or spun around or whatever. And 3, there's an alignment notch on the screw and on the handle, and you'll notice if I line those up, I can push the screw all the way in or take it all the way out. And then I just have to give it a quick half turn or so. That half turn locks everything together because you're tightening the screws, and now it's secure and ready to go. The Eisenlinks are, I guess I'd say, a little quirkier. Again, we're going for 30 pounds, so we're going to loosen the 2.5 pound screws. Now, we don't have to fully remove them, so they can be a little quicker than Ironmasters if you're making small weight changes, but I wouldn't call either of these particularly quick. The handle weighs 10 pounds, so I need a pair of 5s. The screws are 2.5, and I'm going to need these 2.5s to get to 30. The plates can be a little finicky because of these alignment screws. The screws keep the plates in place and from sliding off the dumbbell if your handle isn't tightened down because maybe you dropped them or were rough with them. They can also kind of get caught on each other, but they essentially just line up and then slide into each other. You'll notice that these plates also have an orientation, but unlike Quick Locks, which can be spun around, these have to be vertical. It's not really a problem because the little built-in handles make them easier to move around, so you'll just naturally grab them that way. But changing weights can end up having an extra step since the 2.5s have to be placed on the outside. So like with durability, I'd probably give Ironmaster a slight nod here, but that's more when you're making big weight changes. With those, I sometimes feel like I'm adjusting Dumbbells as I'm spinning the locking screws for a while to get the pin in or out. So imagine your wife is using the 30s and you've got to curl some 80s, which you do because you're subscribed to this channel. These screws have to come all the way out, or all the way in this case, so you can add or subtract the plates. With the Quick Locks, it's only the half turn and they release, but once locked in, they are both very solid. Neither have any shaking or rattling, though I do find the screws on the Quick Locks a little easier to tighten and loosen because the knurling on the locking screw has more bite to it, but it doesn't feel sharp or aggressive. The knurling on Eisenlink screws could be a little more aggressive because I really tighten these things down, and they're sometimes a little tough to get back off. As for the handles, I'd echo the same sentiment. Ironmaster's knurl feels great. It's clean and grippy. Eisenlink handles are powder coated, and anytime you do that, it's going to fill in and dull the knurl. So this is pretty passive, which can be a factor with heavy rows. Does any of that matter? I'm not going to tell you Eisenlinks are the better dumbbell. I think Ironmasters are, but a pair of 75-pound quick locks are $700 shipped, and a pair of 80-pound Eisenlinks are $500 shipped. That's a very good value on something that basically does the same thing, even if not quite as well. But let me know what you think. Check them both out in the description and let me know your thoughts, and then watch this playlist here of our other adjustable dumbbell reviews. Thanks to our patrons. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.